I think my ankle is a bit tricky. You guys are good.
No, you're all fine.
Okay.
Yeah. But it'll be really interesting. But like I said, that best practice group that I went to was really interesting. Just the whole anti-money laundering that they're talking about and what's out there and what they're looking for was amazing. And also for her to bring up, the fact that they've been on the dark web and
I don't even know where to go.
well, that's the thing. What to do? Google dark web? I have no idea. And I am
You
not
don't want to try.
You don't
in
want
case
to
you
go
get
there.
fined.
Yeah, I'm not going to
Project
Google.
Flag.
And maybe we should have a try so we know that what's happening, so we can be better compliance manager.
I think you need to find out how
Yeah.
that
Check
works.
with Nick first.
Yeah, I think I'll check with Nick first because I don't want you typing that and
Are we
shutting
going
down
to
our
be
whole service
flagged?
system. Well, I don't know. I don't know enough about it. So, but that's huge. But she was saying that it's amazing what you could buy on there. Just things that we would think are huge or horrible. She said it goes beyond that. So she said it. She's been in this game a long time.
So
and it
that's
was
for
shocking to
the
her.
drug and firearm and things like that.
Drugs, firearms, body
Children.
parts, children, everything. It's just anything that you think of that is a criminal activity is all
okay.
there. Yeah, so
it's
anything.
more than just
So
drug
much
dealing.
more. Yeah, so much more. And of course, there's no trace. So it's all just different, was it IP addresses, and they go, and they're all just random.
It just
Like the
jumps
whole
around
it just jumps
everywhere.
around. There's no way to trace it. Absolutely, they can't find it. If you're buying stuff on the dark web, you can't find it.
So it's more electronic dealing in terms of monetary.
A little bit. They were saying that
They can
were talking
organise
about
payment
Bitcoin
in the
and
other
stuff
way.
as well. Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
Okay. All right. So it's 1:00. So welcome to our live conversation. Today we have Yiping G and Amy Tomes from Gilligan Shepherd. Yiping and Amy are the compliance officers for Gilligan Shepherd for AML. Firstly, Yiping,
Yeah.
would you like to let everyone know a little bit about your position at Gilligan Shepherd and what you enjoy doing?
So I'm Yiping, and I am one of the partner of Gilligan Shepherd. Mostly what I'm doing, or what I enjoy do, is business development. So compliance, it's not my stronghold, as Deborah obviously know that.
Yeah.
So why I become the compliance officer of anti-money laundering compliance is because everyone thought the biggest risk of Gilligan Shepherd's anti-money laundering would from my clients, mostly based in China. So I have no excuse to say no to this appointment.
Yeah, Yiping drew the short straw. Amy, what position do you have in our team, and what is the best part of this for you?
Well, my name's Amy and I am the manager of BAS, which is the Business Advisory Services. And I do a lot of the compliance work and run the team that does the compliance work and everything from financial statements through to tax returns and business planning and advisory services. And the best part of this for me is that our team, BAS, is the biggest team in Gilligan Shepherd, and we do a lot of the compliance work, and the majority of the clients do only BAS stuff. So they might only be little clients or they might be big clients, but we have a lot of continual contact with clients year after year after year. So we need to make sure that they are complying with the AML legislation. So it's important that I work with Yiping to get the compliance correct.
That's right. Yeah,
Because a lot of our clients are affected.
that's right, and they're going to be. So our first question is, what is AML and what does it mean?
AML is 3 letters. So A is anti-money laundering. So to be able to understand what is anti-money laundering, we need to understand money laundering first. And it's more than AML. There's another word called CFT behind it. CFT is counter financing terrorism. So we need to understand what is money laundering and what is financing terrorism. Then we can understand better how to anti them and counter them. Okay, so money laundering and financing terrorism is like it's it's like two part of criminal side. So the first, money laundering is financing result from all these criminal activities. Before I talked to Deborah, I think it's mostly is like from drug dealing and from trading the firearms that was sanctioned by the global world. But actually, there's more to that. You can trade all different kind of parts of things that are prohibited to trade in the website. For example, the kids porn and body parts or things like that you do not want to know. So the criminal result, financial result from trading this kind of criminal activities, if we do not have anti-money laundering, then these financial result can be laundered through to the normal economic level. So these people can actually enjoy the result of criminal activity. This was definitely not can't be justified. So the global world agreed to work together to anti this money laundering. The financing and terrorism is in the other side. So these people that make good money out of the normal economic activity, but that money can be used to the terrorism activity, which will disturb the world order. So to counter that is very important as well. So anti-money laundering, counter-financing terrorism. So we call that AML and CFT, and it will be quite common jargon through
Going
the years
forward.
going
Yes, it will.
forward. So yeah, that's basically what.
Me, why do accountants need to perform AML checks?
Well, accountants need to perform AML checks because they're involved in business on many different levels. And at Gilligan Shepherd, we offer accounting services and financial services to people on all levels. We provide trustee services to people. We have trust accounts where we hold people's money, and sometimes it's a significant amount of money. We act as a registered office for lots of companies that we work for. And we also obviously prepare financial accounts and statements and do compliance. So doing all that, accountants give an air of respectability and an air of legality to transactions. So often people that are laundering money will use an accountant as the registered office because it gives them an air of legality and an air of respectability. So accountants are right in the middle because we deal with everything from the day-to-day transactions and bookkeeping through to holding a lot of money for clients. So we need to understand what it is the clients do, are the clients who they say they are, and where is this money coming from?
Right.
We need to understand the source of the funds.
Okay.
And also we're in a good position if the flow of funds or the amount of funds or the type of funds start to change, and we get a lot of cash deposits, for example, we would see that.
Yeah.
Especially at a bookkeeping level as well.
Right.
So that's why it's important for accountants to check, to
Okay.
do the AML checks
Yes.
and understand.
All right, but I understand that we're not just doing them on new clients that are coming in anymore. We have to do them on our existing clients as well. And when I think about that, I think, well, we know our clients. Some of them have been clients for 10 or 20 years. Why are we going to ask them? We need to see your passport for identification. We actually need to do an AML performance check on you. Why do we have to do that?
Well, I think in a way that those people that we've known for a long time, and we do have a lot of long-standing clients here, they just get caught in the whole web of this AML business. But then whether we know them well enough or not is a matter of perception and a matter of perspective, really. You might think you know your client really well, but you may actually in fact not.
Right.
And it's an impossible situation to only do AML on some clients and not on others, because the compliance for AML, as we're learning, because we're just starting it, it can be quite tedious.
Yeah.
So if we then started to cherry pick people we weren't going to do AML on, I think it makes the whole process quite difficult. I think it has to be done for everybody under the legislation.
Yeah.
And as I expect that 99% of our current clients will be fine.
Yes.
Hopefully 100%, but we need to check.
Yeah.
Because it's all part of the legislation.
Okay.
And
yeah, I mean, and I know that we, as part of AML, we're going to be doing certification and verification. What's the difference between certifying something and verifying something? So, Yiping, I think you were going to answer that.
So the certification and the verification is all related to do due diligence on a client. And what is the due diligence on a client? So we try to obtain the identity of the client, mainly their birth date, their name and their birth date. So we would like to make sure these two identity that we collect from each client are correct. So we need to do this, we need to verify that. How do we collect the identity? We have to collect identity through the credible, trustworthy document issued by a trustworthy agent, such as a passport issued by Internal Department of Welfare. It's like a credible document. But to be sure that document is not forced, or the people that in the document is the same as the people that are sitting to, we need to verify that. So verification is a process of collect identity and make sure the identity is right. But sometimes you won't be able to meet the client face to face. So if you can meet them face to face, and as a person, you should be able to verify, oh, that is that. But if you are not able to, then we are allowed to get certified documents. So the certified documents means it's not you try to verify, it's you help someone else verify the client document. So if someone would like, it was CDD'd by the lawyer, and then they can see us, but they could not meet the lawyer, might be in Hong Kong or somewhere else. So we can help certify that that person is match the document, and then the document can then, together with our certification, send it to a person, and that person can rely on this certified document to verify the identity. Right. I hope I've explained it right. It's like seems quite confusing. Eh?
Yeah. All right. Yes, I know, and it's obviously confusing for others because it's some of the questions that have been asked. And what happens if you find out something that doesn't fit with the AML requirements? So what happens if we're going through the AML process, we've certified or verified somebody, and then we're then asking about their source of wealth, and we find out that something doesn't look right, or something actually looks a bit more suspicious than you think? What happens then?
So there's two levels to this question. The first one will be what the legislation required you to do. Yeah. And then there's another level is what the legislation allow you to take, what kind of approach, right? So the legislation clearly requires us if we find any suspicious activity. Suspicious means when you're collecting identification, when you collect, including all the like the name, the birth date, and the source of wealth, and you find anything suspicious, then you are required to report suspicious activity report. And to do that, you should not alert your client or your prospect client about that. The approach means how do we say this is suspicious or this is not? So the measurement of whether it's suspicious or not, we can take we call the risk-based approach.
Right.
So we need to do a risk assessment based on our firm's client base and services we provide. And if we feel the risk is quite low, and then we feel that suspicious that we feel is not that risky, we may do not file the report. If nothing goes wrong, then it's fine. But if anything goes wrong, then we take the risk because our approach is risk-based. So there's always a judgment for each decision we make. Yeah. So that's why risk assessment is really, really important, and understand the basic of money laundering and financing terrorism is really important as well. As long as you understand the basic of the basic concept behind that, and then you understand the behavior of that, you will feel a bit more confident. Otherwise, we do not want to extend this to nonsense, to impede our business, usual business. But also we need to aware that if we do not comply, the risk is quite high for our business as well.
Right, okay. And we do have the opportunity, if you're watching this live stream, that you can actually ask us questions, and I'll put those questions to Amy or Yiping. But I have a question. So if we've done our risk assessment and we've actually found something that we think is suspicious activity and we've reported it, what does that mean for the relationship of our client? Will we continue to work with them, or will we just let them know that we're no longer going to work with them? Is that a case-by-case basis, or what will happen then?
It's depends on what transaction we're working for them.
Right.
We might identify suspicious activity, but the transaction we're working for them may not result in anything. And we should
Okay.
not. We should immediately do an enhanced DD to the client if we haven't done that. But by doing that, we should also not alert the client of anything.
Right.
So it has to be done in a quite carefully way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is quite a
You do not want to
legislative
immediately
way.
say, "Oh, I have to sack you" or whatever.
Yeah.
Then, if they really conducting some criminal like financing terrorism, and then
Yeah.
the terrorism activity is going to happen somewhere, it may alert them.
Right,
Or our
okay.
accountant has saw our activity, so you
Right.
need to handle that carefully.
Yeah.
Does not mean you should not work for the client at all. You can still
No,
keep
okay.
working for them. It's just you need to manage that whole process.
All right. And as Yiping and Amy have said, this is very new to us. Like, this has only come in on the 1st of October. So for our firm, it's meant quite a lot of processes and procedures have had to happen. Yiping has spent quite a lot of time writing all of our risk assessment documents, and they are not small. We have to have those, and we will be audited on our compliance. And I think we do feel a little bit like we're bumbling our way through it. We feel that we are doing the best we can, and I think from our point of view, we're actually ticking all the boxes and crossing all the T's and dotting the I's. So we're doing the best we can, and we're hoping that our clients won't find it too much of an intrusion. But it is legislation, and we don't actually have a choice. Do you have anything else that you'd like to add?
Only really just along the same vein as what you said, Deborah,
Yeah.
is that the clients that I have, because what we're doing as part of our process is before we take on any new clients, we have to do a due diligence or an enhanced due diligence, depending on the client. And then as in the business advisory department, when we get in the annual work to do for the client, at that point we're doing the due diligence. And so once we've done it, we won't have to do it again next year. But most of the clients that I've spoken to about this, quite a few of them being that they're in the economic environment and that they're business people, they've already done a lot of this due diligence with their lawyers.
Yes.
Because the lawyers had to comply earlier than the accountants. So I haven't had many problems, many pushback from any clients at the moment, because they understand that it is just legislative. They understand that it is a pain. We're trying to make it as painless for not only for the clients, but also for Tash, who is a lovely admin girl who is doing all of the paperwork and all of kind of gathering together all this information. So if you have already done this due diligence for your lawyer, even for your bank, right? You're opening your bank accounts, you'll find you probably have pretty much all the information we already need. But now we just need to have it. But we won't need to ask you, keep continually asking you.
No. Okay. All right. And we're obviously got systems and processes in place to keep that information and have it on hand. But I think other than that, I haven't had any questions come through. So I think we'll wrap up. Thank you very much for your time, Yiping and Amy. Now, this live conversation will be put up on YouTube, and you'll be able to collect that through our website, gilliganshepherd.co.nz. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
trying to.
Here comes the helper.
It's not ending.